Montgomery County is considering doing a private security camera incentive program within the Montgomery County Police Department. D.C. police already have one. But these private doorbell cameras come with some questions, like who already has access to what is being recorded and what is captured overall. So let's bring in cybercrime expert Joel Schwarz once again to talk about the cameras and their privacy issues. Joel, good to see you this morning.
Good morning.
So I think it's a valid question for people whether, no matter what use you have for these cameras as to, I guess we'll start with what is being recorded, because some have said it might not be just that in the immediate proximity of the camera.
Yeah. Traditionally, these cameras are not new. They've traditionally been on business for many years. Used to have closed circuit TV cameras, but today, Ring doorbells, many computer security companies have their own version of these doorbells, and they're capturing information not just in the immediate vicinity. They're pointed outwards. So they're, as you can see in the videos you're showing, you see people on the streets, people passing by, nosy neighbors potentially listening and videotaping what's going on. Often these people may not know they're being recorded, and even if they do, the extent that you're capturing so much information is a concern if law enforcement should get a hold of this information.
So, all right, let's just take, for example, you have the camera on your doorbell. Maybe it's facing outward. How much of a conversation, or I guess from how far away, could it actually record inside the home? Could it be several rooms away from where the doorbell is?
Well, I've seen a lot of information about the cameras recording outwardly. I don't know how much they can record inside, internally. I do know some companies actually offer similar cameras for placement inside the house. However, the reality matters is that the concern so much is more the public facing and what's going to be captured by people who don't realize they're being recorded. Inside the house, you're making a conscious decision, obviously, to record that information. Whether or not you want the company to maintain it, whether you delete it through their privacy apps, that's a second question. But the concern here really is that a lot of public information is being captured, much more so than in the old days. And then law enforcement is increasingly asking for access to that after a crime. So there's a question of whether or not this is really sort of going towards a big brother state, because law enforcement is getting access without getting courts processed, without having legal oversight of their access to this data. And that's really the concern. Sure.
Right. Look, we've all seen the TV shows where police solve the crimes based on the information that comes out of the videos, which can be a fantastic tool for policing as far as their own safety, or if it's something as simple as stealing packages off the front of the porch. However, the question comes down to how much, I guess, who has access to that, the video that comes in for the camera, whether the police department gave you the camera or you bought it yourself. Who does have access to that video?
So, and that's a great question, by the way. There are very legitimate uses of this, and they've actually been used to solve many crimes. But the questions are, as you said, who has access to the video? Right now, for example, on Ring doorbells, law enforcement go through using the Neighbors app, post out there saying, we'd like to have access to information about a crime that occurred in this vicinity. People want to share your cameras, please do so. So it's not mandatory, but people are sharing there more and more frequently. Same thing with other security cameras. But then again, also, there's this issue of potentially that law enforcement get access to information without a search warrant by going to the company. In cases where there's life and limb, basically the law allows for exception where that could be voluntarily provided when there's a concern about individuals being subject to harm. And on top of that, there is some companies, I'm not saying which ones, and I'm not even sure all of them, but they potentially sell this to data aggregators who then make it available to law enforcement. So there's many different ways law enforcement get access. But at the end of the day, there's a concern that this being done without any legal oversight, without any protection for the Fourth Amendment. And just as a related corollary concern, there's also a First Amendment issue here, which is the concern that by capturing information in public spaces, meetings, conversations that might otherwise be private, it could potentially chill free speech, chill protests, chill the ability of people to get together and talk about a cause that they feel very strongly about.
Sure. Joel, last thing, and this comes with the added twist now as to everything that you've just said, but, we've seen in Montgomery County is offering to do it. Other police departments have done it as well, where they will offer you that camera, which theoretically will help them solve crimes in the future and provide more safety to you. If they offer you that camera, do they then just have blanket access to the video, or can you just accept that camera and when you set it up, you maintain essentially all the control? Or by accepting it, are you simply giving the police access to everything that the camera sees?
So we have a few in the DMV. In DC, actually, the law that is passed and it gives the rebates requires you to be able to provide footage to the police department upon request. Looking at the Montgomery County version, which is still proposed, it was proposed in June by the council, it is not clear to me whether or not you have to provide that data to the law enforcement, but certainly because you have to register it. In Montgomery County, the chief of police decides which the priority areas are, quote unquote, meaning where there's high security issues, big concerns about safety. They certainly know that's out there. You have to register that you have these cameras, and therefore it's potentially likely that they're going to come and ask you for the data. But it's not clear whether you have to provide it I should note that in DC, actually, you can opt out of providing to the police. So while it's not necessary, the question is, how voluminous will that be and how often will that happen?
Sure. Definitely something to think about. I appreciate your insight on that. Cybersecurity expert Joel Schwarz joining us once again. Thank you, Joel. Good to talk to you this morning.
You too. Happy Monday.
All right. Yeah. How often do you hear that, right? Happy Monday.